Hello, I'm Shelley Rothus. I'm a different kind of victim. Today's topic is going to be based on my personal experiences as per the topic of conditioned normalized victimization syndrome. So, I had come to my realization again. Coming to your realization. Oh, is it a good thing? Yeah, but it's extremely painful. And past topics, coming to my realization, that was based upon when I realized just how bad the abuse was with my three alcoholics and accepting and admitting to it. Conditioned normalized victimization syndrome. Do we realize we're being treated badly? Yes, absolutely. So, my next realization that I came to was at my friend Nina's place when we were discussing the recent incident that happened to me with Grumster and how he treated me and whatnot. I said, wow, to my friend Nina, my dad is an asshole. That was very hard to say, and it took me this long to actually say it. My dad is an asshole. So, there's the want, the feelings in between, and the need. What did I want? I wanted that father that treated me like he cared about me, that he loved me, he respected me. For that short time when I was a young child. That was a long time ago. Feelings in between. It's not that we don't know that we're being treated badly. It's shameful to admit that we were in a relationship that was toxic and that those people treated us badly. So, I'll stop right there. Now, I had described how talking to a DV victim is how we're taught based upon how we talk to somebody who is a sexual assault victim. And it's very true. What's one thing that most people do when they talk to a DV victim, and this can be in any type of relationship? What's one thing they say that's very common that shouldn't be said? I would never tolerate being treated like that. I would never do this. I would never do that. I would never be in a relationship like that. Blah, 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 blah. Does that help the victim? Absolutely not. It's bad enough that they're feeling that shame themselves, knowing that. Is it natural? I'm not going to put people down or anything else, because you know what? That was me. I would see people in intimate partnerships where they were being treated like crap. And I'd be like, oh my God, I would have done this, I would have said this, I would have done blah, blah, blah. You don't know what you're going to do. Because I was just in one. You don't know. So that's going to go to where my friend Nina had told me, love is blind. As I've stated before, is that Grumster is the first person that I felt love with. That I fell in love with. So that's very true. And so love is blind. You only see the good in that person. You accept who they are. You love who they are. That's exactly how I felt about Grumster. I actually thought he was a great guy. And he did make me feel happiness for the first time that I never felt before. So everybody's focusing on the flaws. Saying, wow, I would not accept that. Just the way that we communicated, which was actually really bad because he listened, but he didn't say much. He didn't give any feedback that was necessary as for communication, as and I described as the word respect. So I even had evidence of those one of the conversations that my friend listened to, and she was like, wow, I would not tolerate that. That is just awful. So who did handle it better that made me feel a little bit more open to really looking into it and thinking about it? That would have been my friend Gloria. She didn't say, I would never tolerate that. That's trash. I would never be with somebody like that. She told me. She didn't say that person is trash, but she understood that I had strong feelings for them and loved them, and that they were special to me. So the way she said it was, you deserve so much better, Shelley. You're a really good person, and you tried so hard in that relationship, and you gave so much to that person, but you deserve so much better. Well, as I stated, is that there's many similarities with Grumster and my father. The way I described it to my friend Nina, and also how I explained it to her as to why I ignored those flaws, is because they were minor to me. You minimize, that's where the feeling in between and the condition normalized victimization syndrome comes into play, is you minimize those flaws so much and you just focus on the good. That's exactly what I did with my father. Also, Grumster treated me in more often, I should say more frequent ways that were positive than my father did for many years now. Because, as I've stated, is my father has been abusing me since right before I was a teenager. So it's been a long time. And that's where I'll stop with the Munchausen syndrome by proxy, as I've described, is I was conditioned to believe that's normal and to just accept it. And that's why I ended up in a lot of toxic relationships, because I just accepted it. I didn't know what it felt like to feel good and respected in a relationship that was healthy. As for Grumster, the difference with him and my father is that he did talk to me in ways that were positive, as to that he did appreciate me in his life, and that he did want to be in my life. My father didn't give that to me. My father was, I'll give you the examples of how he was different, as to he was worse. So that would go along with Ken and ghosting me too. And that was my father. That's why I say that Grumster was the better out of the other two, and that they were the worst, Ken and my father. So the way that my father would treat me, say we're at the dinner table, and even if it's a good conversation, hi Dad, how you doing? Or telling him about my day, I did this and that, in a good way, which you do at having a nice conversation. My father, this is my father. Treat me like I was not even there. So what did Grumster do? Grumster, I'm listening. He would actually respond. Not many words and not really effective communication. So others would see that as like really bad to them. And like I said to my friend Nina, if you knew my dad, you would understand. My dad is much worse. And he is. That's where I came to my realization. Because Grumster, what did he do that most people would see as really bad, which I myself, I think, again, the victim realizes it's not good. This was him when we'd be talking as to how he would do it. Be on his phone while I'm talking to him about, our relationship and what's hurting me. He didn't have a mean face on him. He would, I would even say, could you at least look at me? He would look at me. He would respond. Nothing effective that would actually help the, communication process of working it out. My father, I would say, could you look at me? Nothing. Act like I'm not even there. Another example. Me and Grumster had plans to go to a park, for a few days, and that day came. He ended up lolly-dallying around and not getting ready to do it. And then also making other plans instead before, right after we made those plans. So he was stalling. And was like, yeah, I'll be a minute, in a minute I'll get up. That's what he did often. Whenever we had plans or I asked him if we could do something and he would say yes, he would watch TV you know, and say, yeah, in a minute I'll get up. My father was worse because if I would come up to him and I would actually offer to take him out to eat and even pay for it and whatnot, just to have a good time, to do something for him from my heart, he would treat me as though I was bad for doing that. Like I'm wasting his time. I'm not worthy of his time. Rumster didn't go that far. He didn't treat me like that. So that's why I didn't see what he did as being really bad, as to what most others would see as being really bad. My dad would actually make me feel guilty for even offering, for me offering to take him out and pay for it. He would make me feel like I was a bad person, like I was wasting his time, like I'm not worthy of it. Rumster didn't do that. That's why I felt good with him and why I felt happiness. Many won't understand that. Nobody's perfect. Of course, everybody else is going to see the flaws in others' relationships easily and say, I would never do that. Again, I used to be that person. I would never tolerate that. And if this happened, I would do this, that, and that. You don't know. Just like I didn't know I would even give Grumster a second chance. The one that wasn't in that relationship, and I was seeing it from the outside on somebody else's, I'd be like, what? They're giving that person another chance? What a, oh, that's crazy. I would not tolerate that. Da, 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 da. So, how is Ken related to my father? Ken, when he ghosted me, he would look at the message that I'd send him and not respond, just like my father. So on Facebook and even on text messenger, you can see when somebody's seen your message and he wouldn't respond. He did that many times. Not any different than my father. Or when he would respond to me, he would say, you know, I only have 9 minutes until I go to bed, you know, basically make it quick. That'd be like my father saying, when I come up to him, hey Dad, how you doing? Or hey Dad, can I talk to you? What do you want, Shelley? I'm tired. I'm sick. BS. Just like Ken saying, you know, I have 9 minutes. You have 9 minutes to speak. You know, make it quick. I'm tired. Like I proved, he had time to be in those hate groups and saying despicable and cruel things to me, yet he only has 9 minutes for me to talk about something that's not related to being ill, abusive behaviors, right? Same goes with my father. So my realization was that I don't deserve to be treated that way with my father, and it was very hard when I was leaving, is that I didn't want to lose my father. And it's been almost a year since I've been gone, and I'm finally coming to that realization, is that my father is an asshole, and I deserve better than that. And the feelings in between, do I want that realization? No, because I really, really, really want that man that I thought my father was, that I looked up to. Do I still want that? Yeah, I want that badly. More than anything else. And those feelings in between is that now that I came to my realization is that I can't hold on to something that's not there anymore of what I want, and accepting that he is this. He is an asshole. He doesn't care about me. He doesn't love me. And I have to let that go to come to what I need, deserve. That's where my friend Gloria was absolutely right. You deserve better. It was hard to see that because, as I stated, is that Grumster is the first person I experienced happiness with. There were flaws and I overlooked them and I minimized them. What have I learned? What do I need to do? What do I need? Can I have my father back in my life? Sure. But what do I need? I need to accept that I'm not going to tolerate being treated as though I'm not worthy of being respected. And I'm not going to accept that person back in my life until they can do that. I'm not just going to accept, like I was, even right after I left and escaped, is wanting him back in my life, even if he's going to treat me badly, just because what I'll delusionally look at him as and just be happy that he's there, because I didn't want to deal with those feelings in between. But what I need is, he's not going to be back in my life, and I'm not going to allow him back in my life until he can be what I need and deserve. How did I learn that? I gave Grumster a second chance, and he let me down. So, what I want, do I want Grumster back in my life? Yeah. I miss what I had with him and the feelings. There were flaws, and those need to change. So, I need those things to change before I accept that person to ever be in my life again. Because the feelings in between, I have to accept that I deserve better, and I was being treated in ways that I didn't deserve and that were toxic. And it would get so much worse, just like it did with my father, is accepting what he was to me, which wasn't good, because I wanted this and I was seeing as something else. The feelings in between, I didn't want to accept that of what I wanted. Those feelings in between is that it was very shameful, just like it is with this recent situation. It's very shameful. I remember I was walking outside and I saw my friend Gloria from afar. I know that her and my friend Nina were watching me closely because they know what's been going on and what I've been through, that I, not denying, but wanted to keep down because, again, the shame. So the second time I gave Grumster a chance and seeing Gloria, and it failed again because he let me down and wasn't willing to make those changes that were necessary in order for our relationship to be healthy and not toxic, and that would be fair to me. He wasn't willing to do it. Just like my father isn't willing to change his abusive ways and how he treats me. I have to, get over those feelings in between, realize that even though it's shameful that I tolerated that stuff, and I know people are looking at me like, what a fool. But you know what? People need to stop that, because you don't know what you will end up in. You don't know what you'll do. You can't say you know what you will do and exactly what you'll do if you were in a situation like that. So I had to come to where what I need. I'm not going to allow those two people that were very special to me to be back in my life and just tolerate and accept them treating me in ways that I don't deserve. So, conditioned normalized victimization syndrome. That was the example of it, based upon also explaining Munchausen syndrome by proxy, is that I had been conditioned as to where seeing my father, especially, as the one I looked up to the most and admired and wanted to be just like, even though I'm nothing like that as to how he treated me, I still didn't want to lose that person that I looked up to and how I felt when I was a little child with him, when he did treat me in better ways, and how it made me feel. Just like I didn't want to lose Grumster, because even over my father, he made me feel extremely happy and special, and I actually thought that our relationship would last forever. But I had to come to my realization that I deserve better, and that if they really do care and love me and respect me, that they would make those changes that I deserve, that are fair. It's not me asking or forcing or doing anything that would not be right, making people make changes that shouldn't be expected. This is something that should be expected, because I do deserve to be treated with respect. It's not me being the bad person. That's the way Grumster made it out to be, is that I'm forcing him to do something that he shouldn't have to do. when actually it's only fair, because it's fair because I deserve respect in that relationship too. I respected him. Just like my friend Gloria explained to me, and that's where I realized it, is that she even told me, she said, you did all this stuff for him, you were really good to him, you tried so hard, and you deserve so much better, you deserve that back. She's absolutely correct. I do deserve to get that back in return. And I shouldn't accept and tolerate it and just wait around. So what I've learned is I'm not going to let those people back in my life until they can give me what I actually deserve. Respect. I deserve to be respected. I deserve to have people who care about me and truly care about me in my life. My father, again, my realization, he doesn't care about me. He doesn't love me. He won't even talk to me. He won't even answer his phone. He blocked me. He doesn't want me back in his life because I'm not there for them to abuse anymore. They lost me. They're blaming me. They're mad at me because I left, and I'm not there for them to abuse anymore. And they don't want to accept that they have abused me since I was a young child. And there is actually witnesses to that. That's where they're in between. They want to ignore the fact of what they did to harm me in most of my life. And that's their problem, not mine, because what? It isn't unfair that I expect to be treated with respect and that I deserve that. Same with Grumpster. I deserve to be treated with respect. It's not unfair for me to even ask him to treat me with respect and do things that is actually needed in order for us to have a healthy relationship. Same goes with my father. So, coming to your realization, as you can see, it's extremely hard. It's very good. It's extremely painful. Also, understanding how to talk to victims without making them feel even more shame and making it harder for them to even come out and admit it. Because again, conditioned normalized victimization syndrome, it's not that we don't know that we're being treated in bad ways. We don't want to accept it because of the shame that we already feel about ourselves. We don't need somebody else pushing that on us. Again, saying, I would never tolerate that. I would never do that. How could you do that? How could you stay with that person? Blah, blah, blah. Think about what you say before you say it. That does not help the victim at all. So, that was just a pause based upon the previous videos of my recent experience with Grumpster to give a better understanding on the topic I've been teaching, which is conditioned normalized victimization syndrome. I hope to see you for the next part. I'm Shelley Rothus, and I'm a different kind of victim. See you next time.